Well, hello everybody. We are back. It's Sunday night and we are here in the podding shed. I hope you are all well and everyone's looking after themselves. It's now yeah, it's been an eventful week, isn't it? With the storms that suddenly came in out of nowhere. So I hope everyone's going to be okay and not suffered too much damage from that. Let's have a quick look at the comments and check somebody's out there and that everybody can hear me and see me okay. Oracle's allotments is joined us. Hello to you. We've got Stuart Jackson. Hope you are not too wet. No, we haven't had much rain today, but we'll get into that a little bit later on. We have got Turbo Stream. Good evening, veg growers. Good evening to you. Philly SPB. Hello to you. Hargrave Gas, sorry. Evening. I missed the last week's live, so had to watch on catch up. Still good, but not the same. Sorry. Pleased to be back this week, live this week. Sorry, confused me there as well. I've got to admit, yeah, I've seen some videos or live streams. When you don't watch them live, it loses some of the magic, I've got to say. But if anybody who isn't watching live, please do continue to watch when you can and leave a little comment down below. Ballycillian is joined. Hello to you. Amanda Kirkland, hello to you. Kevin Hall, we have a video coming up from Kevin Hall a little bit later on. And Turbo Stream, it's been a washout here, not been out for 4 days running. Well, that sits quite nicely with what I always like to start off this show with, of letting you know what I've been up to over this last week. Now, I've got to admit, I've had this last week off work. It's been rather nice, but I feel like I need a few more days off, in all honesty. I feel like I haven't achieved much. The weather has been rubbish. It's just been one of those things, hasn't it? But any luck, we're going back into work. The weather's going to get better, I hope. Let's hope we can crack on. What I have done now, I've been running to the allotment with some old bricks I had lying around in my garden, and I've been putting those into use, making little paths down on the allotment, which has actually made me realise just how much space I've not been using. So I'm going to have to rethink my attack on the allotment. What else have I been doing? We had the storm come through Thursday night, Friday. It was horrible, and I've got to say I didn't sleep very much over those nights because I was worried about the allotment. Every time we get bad weather, a couple of years ago we had some really bad weather and it ruined pretty much every pane of glass on my greenhouse on the allotment, as Grandad's greenhouse, as I like to call it. I was terrified I was going to find that again. I didn't have to worry. It was absolutely fine. At home, however, my little plastic greenhouse, one of those 4-tier shelves, which I usually say is rubbish, that had disintegrated again and pretty much broken. So, yeah, it could have been worse. I hope everyone out there has not had too much damage on their allotments and gardens. Let me know if you've got any damage in the comments or what you've been up to in your garden. And today I have been sowing parsnips and I've sown peas, getting the garden ready to really rock on. Now, I should say the phone line is open. I was having troubles. I've had it on charge for hours, but it's only just kicked in. There we go. So if you want to call in, it's 07307 135 174. Or if you want to zap yourself in, I'm going to add the link in the comments available on YouTube or Facebook. If you are watching it in the Facebook group, you may not see the comments, and I may not see just who you are due to the way Facebook works. So let's have a quick look at the comments and see what everyone else has been up to. So Sean from Dublin has joined. Hello to you. Amanda Joy, hello to you. Manon Weiser, hope I'm pronouncing that right. Hello to you. Steve, hello to you. Digwell Greenfingers, hello to you. An awful heavy drizzle today. We've had it pretty dry, but we've just had a shower come through. Adrian has joined. Hello to you. Ian Beddoes, still raining here. Hello, all, by the way. Turbo Stream, managed one afternoon on the plot on Wednesday, mainly weeding this time. Adrian, Kevin Hall, no damage on ours. Excellent. That's what I like to hear. And Stuart Jackson, we have had a great week at school. Built brick edging. Been doing the same thing on my allotment, funny enough. So potatoes, Brussels sprouts. At the same time, I've pricked runner beans, French beans, and beetroots and onions. So you've been up to quite a bit by the looks of it as well. It's a lot to go on. Excuse me, a lot that we've been doing as well. Fantastic. Now, last week, if I can remember which one it is, last week we were talking about books. Well, I had a couple of pictures that came in after the event. I just want to quickly go through with you while we can. So I think this was one book that was mentioned a few times, Jeff Hamilton's Gardener's World. And what's great about this, it's not this one, but right. So this one came in, was it Muddy Boots? This one definitely came in from Muddy Boots. It's a signed Allotment Gardener's Handbook from Alan Titchmarsh. And there's the book as well. And his Gardener's World book, which I think is the first one, he's got signed by a lot of Gardener's World presenters. And as Gardener's World through the years, I think this is actually Muddy Boots' book, and the first one was Turbo Streams, something like that. It's just catching up because they came in after the event. So, well, actually, Turbo Streams didn't. I just didn't download them in time. Right. So, what I wanted to talk about today is dig versus no dig. We hit upon this last week slightly, and a few people have said their opinions, which is great. So, what I want to know from you guys out there, what is your opinions? Do you dig or do you not dig, and what do you prefer to do? Now, for me, I've been a no digger my entire gardening life. I remember being this 10-year-old and my granddad saying to me, we had to dig in all this manure and all this compost into the soil. That way it get incorporated into the ground. And I just studied worms at school, primary school, where we filled a bucket up with worms and soil and put leaves on the top and watched the worms pull these leaves down through. And I queried this with him. And since then, that's all I've done. I've just mulched the surface with compost. Up until I've taken on my allotment down the road, it's never let me down. It's reduced the amount of weeds I have to do. It just works better for me. But since I've taken on my allotment that I have here in Littlehampton, the couch grass is terrible, and I've been digging loads and loads, or not digging, I've been trying to remove as much as I can, mulch it as much as I can. The trouble I have is being able to produce enough compost to really cover it enough. At home, it's not a problem. Partly I have the chickens, partly because I've got, or don't have as much space, well, don't have as much beds, or can produce a lot more compost at home compared to what I have down on the allotment. Now, the idea, of course, when you mulch the surface with compost like that, you're not digging up any weed seeds. So therefore, you should, in theory, get less weeds. Couch grass, I've got to say, I don't think it quite works with, from my experience, unless you can get a lot of compost. Now, somebody came through to me and sent me a message today and actually sort of said he does no dig, him and his wife. And he said that what he does over the winter was actually lay carpet out on the beds, and has found that has really suppressed the couch grass and the weeds for him. Absolutely. But I know I'm not the only allotment out there that's not allowed carpet. I try and use the black weed suppressor membrane, but I don't think that stuff is as good as it used to be, in all honesty. And we're not out carpet, like I said. But what I'm trying at the moment, around my trees, I'm laying several thick layers of cardboard. I'm going for about 3 layers thick of cardboard. And if that works, then that's what I will do. For some reason, I'm able to always produce a lot of cardboard because that's what I get come in from work. A lot of boxes and stuff come in, so I tend to use that a lot. So on that, let me know what you think. No dig versus dig on your allotments, on your gardens. What do you do and what are your thoughts on it? Let's have a quick look. So Laura Williams, has joined. Hello to you. Hope you are well. Digwell Green Fingers is saying he's the same. Ditto at the Veg Grower podcast. Always been no dig me. To me, and this is my opinion, it just made sense at that 10-year-old why we do that. Nui99 has joined. Good evening to you. Hope you are well. Hargrave Gas. I've always been a digger previously, but where I am now, clay soil, it is so bad. Building no dig beds on top is a much better idea. Completely agree. I do completely agree. I'm also on clay, and it's a very, very hard clay. But yeah, it's a challenge. It's a challenge, and for me, no dig works. It definitely works at home anyway. Turbo Stream. I would class myself as no double dig. I do have to fork the top to remove the couch grass. Yeah, I think I would class that as digging. I mean, I don't fork. I just try and pull out as much of the roots as possible, and then try and get the hoe running through the soil as much as I possibly can. Just to try and reduce all these weeds. It's the couch grass more than anything that gives me the nightmares. Stuart Jackson. No dig is a lot better for me. I broke my back about 30 years ago, so digging heavy clay is a no-no. Also, all my gardens are raised beds at home, and at school we're going to no dig completely next year. So, yeah, that's another very good point about no dig being good for the back and not needing so much digging. But what I do find is that what the extra work actually comes from transporting all the compost around, or the mulch around that we kind of need in order to fill our beds up. So I don't see it as being lazy or less work. I just think it's a different type of work. I mean, anybody who's shoveled a load of compost, even a wheelbarrow full, you do that 10 times, you know about it. Just like if you are gardening or digging over your bed. Digwell Green Fingers also has banned carpets on the allotment. I think it's quite a common thing to have carpet banned on the allotment. Certainly in the case where I am. But cardboard is, as Digwell is using as well as myself, the way to forward it. But I think what I've learned, and I was talking to somebody on my allotment site about this, and he said that he lays 3 layers of cardboard down to at least in order to stop the couch grass coming through. So that's what I'm trying now. Turbo, I struggle to produce enough compost. Exactly my problem too. I ended up trying to make compost faster so I can produce more of it. I've got huge compost bins that get full when it's still not enough. I may have to resort to buying compost in, which technically breaks the rules of my allotment, but I think it's the only way to produce enough compost. I don't think it's necessarily possible to produce enough compost in order to do as much as what I would like to do. Amanda, let me say that again. I dug, but I learned from my granddad, who was a digger. I'm going to do some research on no dig to weigh up whether to move to this next year. That's a common thing. Many people do dig over the soil because that's what they learned from their granddad, or that's what they were always taught. And in fact, many books will actually say dig is the way forward. But the trouble with digging, or according to the no digger experts, and I'm not putting myself in as a no digger expert, I'm putting myself in as somebody who does this by experience. But the no digger experts will say when you're digging over the soil, you're ruining up that, or you're wrecking that soil structure and all those little networks. Oh,
we have a phone call.
We do have a phone call indeed. Hello, caller. What's your name and where you calling from?
Hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, you're a bit fuzzy on it there, Richard.
Oh, am I? It might be because you're plugged in. Let me try taking this out. Is that any better?
Can you hear me, Richard?
I can hear you. Very, very
It's the
faint.
Oracle.
Hello, how are you doing, sir?
I thought you fell out me.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Just phoning in about the no digging the digger, so I am, Richard.
Yeah.
As I say, there's people down our site there, and some of them enjoy digging to clear their mind, and they say it's part of the allotment, you know.
Yeah.
It's part of the enjoyment for them, you know. They go down to spend the day to dig their beds, to do their bits and bobs. But then you get the people there that's no dig, and I'd say them people there, you know yourself, it's a working person.
Yeah.
Who can't go down and dig the bed, who has no time to do all this and all, and it's just a quick art night and the weekends, you know.
Yeah. So you feel that no dig is used as a way of saving time or making the best use of their time?
That's it. I found out in my allotment site, to tell you the truth. The older people, believe it or not, love digging.
Yeah.
Right? And because they're there every day. And the younger people seem to prefer the no dig.
Yeah. Well, do you think
it's a total choice between the two, and like it's whatever you're happy with yourself, you know, whatever works.
Oh, absolutely. I totally agree with that. I mean, I think that's gardening in a nutshell. Whatever anybody does is what they're happy with, and that's the important thing to take away from it.
I just can't get my head around why the older generation want to dig a bit, and the younger ones don't. Think it'll be the opposite way around.
Well, I think it's because it's what they've done their entire life, and it's what they were taught when they started gardening, because that was the way we all done it. Whereas now, these younger people have came in who have tried different methods and are happy to try different things. And it's,
saying that, Richard, as you say, to see the older generation, they don't believe in raised beds.
Well, that's true. That's very true.
They think that's a waste of an allotment. They think you should be going straight into the soil and putting your path up it.
Yeah, that's very true as well. Very
true. You know, as I said, it's totally up to yourself what way you want to work it, isn't it? Like, but on the carpet situation there too, I don't know about other people on their allotment sites, but I've seen who puts a carpet down. Yeah. Sometimes the weed goes up through the carpet and sucks it into the ground.
Well, that is my concern about having a carpet on the allotments, and I believe that's why it's quite often banned, is because it does end up being deteriorated into the ground and becomes a nightmare for whoever has to dig it up.
Well, I actually helped a fellow one time. He got an allotment and it was a wilderness. You could say it was a forest. And you see every time you went to dig something, you weren't digging a stone up, you were hitting carpet. And they wouldn't even know it was there because of the way the weeds had come right through it. And it was just abandoned, you see, until he got it. Yeah. And it was a total nightmare.
Yeah. I'm totally with you on that. That's why I like cardboard, because it does decay into the ground.
It helps your compost too, doesn't it?
Helps compost too, absolutely.
But just as I was saying there, Richard, it's totally up to whoever wants to do whatever, isn't it? Like, as I say, some people like the no dig, suits them well, works perfectly, getting perfectly vegetables, perfect fruit, etc. Then you get the other people that say, oh no, you have to dig this over, let the things in the other end of the soil, let this in, let that in, no, and they're getting perfect vegetables. So it's whatever works for yourself, Richard, isn't it? Like?
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Whatever anybody wants to do, with their own garden is up to them.
It was nice speaking to you anyway, Richard. I thought you felt over the Oracle so hard.
Oh, no, not at all. I've wondered why you hadn't called in for a while.
You God bless, son. God bless.
You take care. All the best.
Nice to hear from you.
Nice
See you later, son.
Cheers.
Bye.
Right. Let me just pull that back into the studio mode. I've had a little play around with the lights and stuff to try and make it a bit more fun when I get a phone call come in. So yeah, that was Oracle who was saying that it's completely up to you. There's different people who do different things, and whatever works for you. And I totally agree with that. Whatever works for you is what it should be done. Now, Steve is saying, prefer to dig, but always look into mulch with mushroom compost. Investment and effort in no dig is great and works really well if you keep going. Yes, and now I can't use mushroom compost because of my mushroom allergy, but I mean, that's one of the things we could use, definitely. And if you can get hold of a good source of compost, then it's worth the investment. But whatever you don't invest in financial services, like anytime you get anything for free, like pallets is a great example. You may not invest financially into that, but you've got to invest time into making it what you want. What else have we got? Steve also says he's doing no dig at home as it's more manageable, which is definitely what I found myself. Turbo Stream. I would like to be fully no dig, but lack of compost is a problem, which is a constant thing. No vehicle access is a major factor too. Yeah, I do remember the days when I had no vehicle access on my old allotment. It was a nightmare. I was a lot younger back then as well, so I could carry things more. So what's Kevin saying here? Having got my first allotment in October, excuse me, sorry. Kevin's saying, having got my first allotment in October last year, now he's got two. We're going to show a video. What happened there? Going to show a video a bit later on of the of his allotment. I have dug the whole plot by hand where we are going to grow crops, and we have just redug a small area today to get rid of the weeds. So Kevin is saying he's a digger, but to be fair, in his plot, he's got some very loamy, beautiful, easy to dig soil. I know that because I've been there. Is it me, or are you getting flashes of colour on the screen? Because I just had it there and I don't know what's going on with that. Digwell is saying, my new plot is on heavy clay. I made 16 no dig beds, no one size, cardboard, compost on top of clay. I am one of the very few who does not have a flooded plot. Yeah, I mean, my beds that were built 6 years ago now, and have adopted the no dig method all the way through, have actually now getting some really nice soil after 6 years of constantly adding compost and manure to it. And it's really building into some really nice friable loose soil, which does take a while. There it is again. It seems every time I move this mouse, the screen goes. Don't tell me we're going to have more issues. The fisherman. I've seen people who have. It's done it, hasn't it? Is the sound still going out? Can you still hear me? Or have I frozen? It's what's going on? I've frozen, haven't I? Yeah, let me read this. I have seen people who have brought compost in for no dig with no real idea where the compost comes from, and then had troubles with pesticides in it, especially council compost. Right, yeah, so the sound is still going. Excellent. Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, we've got a problem. I am frozen. So what I'm going to do, what have I got? I've got some rhubarb. I've made some rhubarb cheesecake. So I'm going to, which one is it? I'm going to put this little video up now quickly. Keep the talk about no dig and dig going, and I'll try and fix this camera. No, that's not the one. Which one is it? There we go. There we go. I fixed it. I don't know what happened there because as soon as I went into the camera on the program, it fixed itself. So God knows what goes on. I suspect, I think I know what had happened is the camera's been on since last week. It runs off of mains and see. Anyway, I have got some of this rhubarb cheesecake that I'm going to try right now. Unfortunately, I didn't give it a chance to set, but that's not going to affect the flavour too much. Oh, yeah, that is really nice. And that is really, really nice. So, yeah. Oh, yeah, that's really nice. So, highly recommend that. Rhubarb and ginger biscuits, ginger nuts cheesecake. I will add the recipe when I pull out into a video, probably in a couple of weeks' time. Right, so let's continue on. Don't forget, if you want to call in, the number is 07307 135 174. Or if you want to zap yourself in and appear on screen, the number is the link is in the comments right now. So let's quickly go back to some of the comments that I've missed, and hope I don't freeze. Sort of each year, half no dig, half covered with cow manure and lightly dug in the spring, then reverse the beds the following year. That might be a way around it. That's not a bad idea, Ballycillian. There's a way of trying to make sure you get enough compost. There's something going on. I've got to turn, yeah. Andrew Norris, hello to you from a Croatian village. Lovely to see you as always. Nui 99. I'm going to be raised partly due to arsenic, 30% in the soil. 30%, that's high. Brought double-wheeled wheelbarrow. I have a ride on the mower trailer, maybe motor wheelbarrow. I have 2 Shire horses to produce the manure. Yeah, definitely getting the horses in will help a lot. I found that with the chickens as well. They help produce a lot of manure, and because of all the wood chippings and all the straw that I have to clean out from them, which is why at home I seem to be able to produce a lot of compost and fast. Ballycillian is agreeing with Oracle that whatever works for each plot holder is good. Be boring if we all did the same. Totally agree with that. And in fact, that's probably one of my mottos. If we were all the same, then the world would be a boring place. Okay, so what else have we got? So Stuart Jackson is now hungry after that little video, and Turbo Stream is best not mess with Richard after seeing that chopper. It's my wife's chopper, believe it or not. She it's the other way around. Don't mess with my wife. That goes for me as well. Turbo Stream is saying yummy. Yeah, it's very nice, very nice. I'm sure this is healthy eating, Richard. It's a weekly treat. We've got to have a little bit. Eat healthily. I mean, this belly don't come from anywhere, so you know I don't eat healthy. But eat healthily during the week, and come the weekend, and get a chat with you guys. We can have a bit of a naughty time. Kevin Hall is saying, you're bound to say that tastes nice. You made it. If it tasted horrible, I would tell you. I believe in honesty. Noe has got chickens and will have ducks too. And Idaho Garden Girl, hello to you. Hope you're well. Stuart Jackson is saying, I need to share. Well, I would love to share with you, just unable to do it at the moment. Now, we are talking dig versus no dig, and how we could, or how do you garden, and what do you prefer? But of course, if you've got any questions or anything you want to add, leave it in the comments down below. You can call in and add your own thing, or you can appear on screen by zapping the link that is going up in the comments right now. Should we have a look at some pictures? We've had a few pictures come in this week. Quite a few, actually, if I can just find them. My eyesight's going. I'm struggling to read the screen these days. Let's have a look. So, no, that should be at the end. What's going on here? Oh, right. So this is where we should be starting. Something's changed in the settings. I know that. Turbo Stream sent me this last week of his kettle on his allotment. He's also shared this photo of his broad beans, which I've got to say look very, very good. And also, I'm quite impressed that there's absolutely no weeds in our little plot that I can see. And his onion beds. Onions are looking very, very good this year. Very good. Ian Beddoes, in his typical humorous way, has posted this. Thanks for the rain, but we're good now. I think we have to agree. But he's also shared this experiment that he was asking us about if he thought it would work. And that's growing peas in a hanging basket. I think it's going to work quite well, but I'm looking forward to see how Ian Beddoes just quite gets on with these peas. I think he's off to a good start already, though. This came in from James, and it's talking of composting and things like that. Anybody have anything like this where you fill a tub in the middle of your bed and let all the worms and everything come in and pull the compost out? Kind of like no dig in some ways. It's similar to my sub pod, except I have to dig out the compost on my own. Helen shared this of her asparagus getting absolutely blasted by the hail. I've picked quite a bit of I've picked quite a bit of asparagus this week, and it's really welcome. Really good year for asparagus, I'm finding, although hail is a bit delicate. Jen has shared this collage of a few pictures she's taken on her allotment over this last week. And there's lots going on there, as you can see. This is Steve, who's in the group tonight, and he shared this picture of his, I think, is this Steve? I'm sure. I've lost my notes, so I'm going by a memory here. And some onions as well. Also, I keep saying it looks like it's a good year for onions. And yes, it was definitely Steve, because I remember this one now. And he's been making rhubarb cordial, something I might have to try and make in the future as well. Now, this came in from Amanda, whose little seedlings have been obliterated by slugs and snails. And she's wondering what we can do about slugs and snails. I've suggested using wool pellets as a way of trying to deter them. But she's also asking or getting a bit more DIY on her allotment. And she shared this picture of her busy with her drill. But she would like to see any pictures of what DIY projects we've done on our own allotments. And we might do a live show on that in the future. And this is the archway that she's put up in her own allotment as well. So that's just a few of the photos that came in, either sent to me via email, richard@theveggrowerpodcast.co.uk, or have been posted in our Facebook group under the Veg Grower Podcast, or even sent to me via social media or through Facebook Messenger and things like that. Basically, just search for the Veg Grower Podcast and send them to me that way. On that note, don't forget to like, subscribe, and all that jazz, and get a notification every time we go live. I have to say that, otherwise I get told off by Facebook and YouTube now. So here we go. So let's go back to the comments quickly. As everyone is saying, this is came in from Digwell, as everyone is saying, there is no right or wrong way. I completely agree. On my channel, I try to reiterate, this is how I do it. Totally agree with that as well. If we were all perfect, like me, the world would be a boring place, LOL. Yeah, I think that's something that I've always tried to say as well, is that it's what I do and it was what works for me. It may not work for everybody else. It's just what works for me. Everybody has different soils, different ways of doing things, different times, different environments. Everything's different. So and let's face it, plants do not read the book and know how to do it in that way. So Stuart Jackson, I have a compost cone bin in my flower bed, but didn't get on with it. Yeah, I've got a couple on my allotment actually. I've got about 4 down there. I used to have one in the greenhouse at home as a way of trying to heat the greenhouse, but it didn't really work. So I've taken it down the allotment. I've got them in some of the beds, and I just fill the cones up with compost, which then gets pulled down into the bed by the worms themselves. It seems to work quite well from what I find, but you don't get any compost out of it. The subpod or your Dalek compost bins or your wooden normal type compost bins, at least you get the compost out of it to pot it where you want it as well. So yeah, lots to think about there. TurboStream, such a variety of parts there. Yeah, you know, those pictures sum it all up. There's such a variety of different things that are going on in everybody's gardens, everybody's allotments. Like we said, if we're all the same, it would be a very boring. Steve is saying, interested to see the result of the peas in the hanging basket. My impression is peas are keen to climb. Please do keep us updated. So there you go, Ian. Please do keep us updated. And I was thinking the same thing earlier, funny enough. Peas tend to try and produce peas when they have something to climb up. But that might be different because they are falling down from a hanging basket. So got nothing to lose. Got nothing to lose by trying these things. And it's one of my other mottos. Mottos. I can't dig anyway at the moment due to a broken right angle and leg recovering. Too much pain still and swelling. Oh, I'm so sorry. I hope you are okay and that your leg, your ankle heals up really quickly. It's I can only imagine how painful that is and how difficult that is for you. I can't remember when I last put the comment up, so I'm going to add the link if you want to zap yourself in right now into the comments, or if you want to call in, it's 07307 135 174. The number is running across the bottom of the screen right now. So I think what we're saying with no dig and digging is that it's entirely up to the person, which I completely agree, and it's whatever works best for you. I get the impression the majority of us watching tonight are no diggers, but we've got a few diggers in amongst the audience, and it would be interesting to see is there a difference in quality? Is there a difference in how much produce you get? But that's difficult to, unless you have the same garden and you produce and spend exactly the same garden. It's difficult to produce a very a scientific experiment that way. A Turbo Stream. I have 2 Dalek composters at home. They produce compost, but it takes a couple of years to compost them down. Well, so this is a little trick that I learned a few years ago in order to speed up my composting. And what I discovered is that, and many people probably know this anyway, but what I tend to do is I run over everything with a lawnmower so it gets chopped up nice and small. And that then goes into my compost bin, my Dalek compost bins, with all my chicken waste, which is the brown material in a lot of ways, because you get a lot of wood shavings and straw in there. And that compost can get quite hot. It can produce really fast. And in about 3 to 6 months, depending on the time of the year, it is rotted down into a really nice, friable, loose, beautiful black compost. And that's what I've tried and do all the time now, is chop everything up with the lawnmower. It does cause problems with the lawnmower, but it does work. It does really speed up the composting process. And if you are trying to produce it, chop it up. Like I say, I use a lawnmower. If I remove a weed, what I tend to do when I'm weeding on the allotment or weeding at home, I keep a little bucket and throw all my weeds into that. Then I'll throw that over the lawn and run it over with the lawnmower. The lawnmower obviously collects everything in the bag, goes straight into the compost bin like that. And it does really get incredibly hot when you compost that way. You know, I can lift my lid off after doing that and there will be steam coming out of the compost. It's amazing to see. Beatrice has joined. Hope I pronounced your name right. Hello to you. Hope you are well. Let us know what you think on digging and no digging. Nui99, Charles Dowden has been doing trials for about 8 years. No dig on a whole larger yield and better drainage. Less time prep at the beginning of the year with the dig and less weeding. Yes, I know he has done it, and I completely do. I don't think he's trying to falsify everything, but a lot of people have said to me that they can't quite believe the results that he produces because he writes books on no dig. He is trying to push the no dig. It'd be a bit like somebody said something earlier about me about my cooking. That was it. I'm going to say it's nice because I cooked it. It's same as Charles, and I don't believe Charles Darwin would falsify anything at all. I will say that, but I do wonder. The perception might be that he's got his own agenda to push and therefore wants to push that. We've got somebody who might. Yep, he's ready. Here we go. Stuart Jackson, hello.
Good evening, Rich. How are you?
Very well, thank you. And yourself?
I'd be all right if it stopped raining. Be fine if it,
Yeah.
you know. I did about 2 hours this morning in the garden and then it started and then stopped.
Right. Did you get any damage in the wind?
No, I've been really lucky. Really lucky. I've got 2 big trees at the bottom of my garden and I've got a few leaves about and the odd little branch, but nothing major.
Yeah.
So, but keep your fingers crossed because we're going to get another storm tonight, I think.
Yeah. Oh, don't say that.
The way it's sailing already.
Oh, great.
It'll burn out
So
by the
you're,
time it gets to you.
Sorry?
It'll burn out before it gets to you, the rain.
Oh, let's hope so. So you're a no digger.
Yeah, I have no choice, Rich, really. Because of my back, I can't, I'm on heavy clay, so I have no choice. So when I started last year with the veg, I just emptied my compost bins and basically made my bed as big as I could with what compost I had. and then gradually filled it up. So it's doubled in size this year. But then I've got 2 compost bins pretty much full now. One could do with emptying. But then when I started last year, one of the compost bins was just full of chicken waste, but it had obviously rotted down, so it was quite fertile.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So, have you always been a no digger?
Well, I have, yeah, really, because I don't sow annual flowers. Most of my flowers are perennial, so once you put them in, you forget about them. So all I have to go doing is go around with the hoe or pull the weeds out. And at the moment, the weeds are coming out easy. But Dad always double digged and all that, and I just couldn't see the point. Even if I could do it, I don't see the point.
Yeah.
You spend, 3 hours on the garden in the morning, and all you've done is turn the ground over. If you cover it up for a couple of months in the winter, even with some mulch or some manure, surely the worms would pull it down. Have I got it wrong? Would the worms not pull a lot of that manure down into the ground or compost down into the ground?
Well, that was my logic as a 10-year-old, because we'd literally studied that at school. And in fact, even here at home, first year I put a load of manure down and it got sucked down into the ground quite quickly.
I can always remember Dad having, because I lived in the country, and next door, at the bottom of Dad's garden was a dung heap. And the farmer once a year would just put 2 scoops over the top, or 3 scoops over the top of the fence, and he'd scatter it across the ground and leave it. He wouldn't dig it in until the spring. Yeah. If there was anything left, then he would dig it in. And I can remember it. I can remember the smell more than anything. But but you know what I mean? The garden, if you look at it in a farmer's point of view, they muck spread, and they sometimes don't plough that field for months.
Yeah.
So I think that's what I'm going to try to do is to put some organic matter into my garden so that it can improve what soil I've got, improve it to the best I can without trying to, because I couldn't, even with a 4 metre square garden, I couldn't stand and dig it all at once.
No.
So
I get bored.
It doesn't seem a lot. Yeah, wow, yeah, but I think you said earlier about breaking up the soil, you're breaking up the goodness. And I think that's right to a certain extent, but it's horses for courses. If you relax by digging, if that's your form of relaxation or de-stressing, then go with it. But I can think of a lot better things to de-stress to. I'd rather stand and prick out. I'd rather stand and prick out 100 plants than dig 3 or 4 yards.
Yeah. But then some people also will say to me that they find lawn mowing quite therapeutic, and other people will say they get bored of it. So I think this boils back to what we've said earlier: is that everyone has their own different ways of doing things, and there's nothing wrong with that.
It's like you said, Kevin's grain's beautiful. You could probably dig it with a hand fork, But if you've got soil like that, it probably is okay, and you do need to dig some organic matter into it anyway. But mine is clay, so all I'm going to do is go down the local horse yard and get some horse muck in the autumn and chuck it on and see what happens. And I've not. Yeah. What's the worst that can happen? That's the way I look at it. What's the worst that can happen? So hopefully. My garden will get a bit bigger again next year if I can keep it as a raised bed. Yeah. It's doing all right. I've got stuff in. It's growing.
Yeah, well, that's the important thing. Now, on that note, Nui99 saying worms will pull down leaf waste in fields and woodlands, which is very, very true.
Yeah.
And what else am I seeing? Man on Visor I'm
Yeah.
finding no dig easier and more manageable on our field where no veg but couch grass has been growing. The couch grass does come through the cardboard eventually, but much less.
Yeah. The only thing I would suggest to anybody that's newbie, and that sort of what I've learned, is don't buy the soil improver from your local tip.
Yeah.
You can
'Cause
get
they
decent
don't want
soil
to do that.
improver at the garden centre. And yes,
Yeah.
you might pay 20 quid a bag extra, a ton or whatever, but you're not going to have the chemicals in it like you have if you get it from the tip.
No. No.
Our tip sells compost bags for £1 a bag. If you take your own bag, it's £1.
But
Well,
you don't know if weed killer has gone into that.
That's it. I try to be as organic as I can, and I'm not totally organic because there's people around me that are not. So, but if I go and buy that compost, you don't know what's in it. And I bought organic peat-free compost from the garden centre that's had plastic in it. It's had nails in it. So I think you've got to be a bit careful. I've started to sieve all mine now. So I know it's boring, but
I'm more impressed that you find the time to do that.
Well, I try to save all the compost I can, because the less money I spend, the more money I make for the charity. So if I sieve the compost and I can then use the cheaper compost to put on, then I'm making more money for the charity. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. And
Well,
I do
thank
only
you very
work
much.
4 days a week.
Yeah, well, true. Amanda's asking, how are you getting on with your veg sales?
£535 at the moment.
£535.
Yeah, so I've done about 60 quid this week. That's not bad, is it, in this weather?
No, that's pretty good.
And I've got a greenhouse full of plants. I will put some pictures up later of what I've got to sell, so then everybody can have a look.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic. Thanks. Fantastic.
Not a problem.
All right. Right. Well, that's a great chatting to you as always, Stuart, and thank you very much.
That's all right. Yeah, you take care, Rich, and I will go back to watching.
Yeah, you take care.
And
Cheers,
listening.
dude.
All right, cheers.
Right. Hey.
Bye.
How do I get? There you go. That's what I want. And there we go. So fiddling around with all the buttons as we try and get it worried. By the way, we are going to go longer than the hour. I think this has now become an hour and a half show on a Sunday now. On that note, I've said about this, I was hoping somebody was going to appear tonight so I can talk to them about this. I tried ringing them earlier. I tried ringing them the other day. Next Sunday, I think we're probably going to have to run or start about 8 o'clock in the evening. It is the bank holiday Monday afterwards, but I'm at Gardener's World Spring show or on Sunday, and I'll be there till about 6 o'clock. So it's either I sit in the car park and do this show where I don't know if we're going to have a good phone signal, my battery is probably going to die, or we do it a bit later on the Sunday night at 8 o'clock, or we go on the Saturday night the day before at 6. My thoughts are Sunday at 8, but what everybody else thinks, let me know in the comments so we can arrange that quickly. We'll have a quick look at what the comments have came in, because I could see there's quite a few during that. And then I've got a video from Mr. Kevin Hall to share with you. First of all, Julia. Has that gone up? Julia. Adrian saying hi to Julia. Julia Hartley is joined for the extra half out. This thing's doing it again. Let's hope it doesn't go. There was something. I saw something. Valley Cillian is saying, my plot was covered in mare's tail. It would grow through concrete. A nightmare. Sort of have it under control now. So yeah, I think no dig is helping with the mare's tail, which makes sense. Steve from Steve Seaside Allotment. I haven't spoken to him for a long time, actually. He was my first guest on the podcast, believe it or not. He suffers from mare's tail. It's not something that I've suffered with myself, but it is a common thing, mare's tail on allotments. Right, let's pull up Kevin's video and we'll come back and go through the comments about next Sunday.
Good morning, Kevin here, and I'm on my allotment. Come down to do some repair works to my new shed. Well, not repair works, some of the timbers are the slats bowed because of the heat that we had for a few days, which we could do with again now. Let me just show you what's been happening down here over the last few weeks. Into the greenhouse. I'm going to go in here. It's going to make a noise as I slide the door back. We've got lots of seeds in the whoops, sorry about that. In here we've got some sweet peas and we've got some cucumbers. We've got sunflowers, lots of sunflowers coming through. Down on the floor here we've got more runner bean plants because we've set too many. We've got the cords here ready for our tomatoes. We've got 6 cords ready for them to go in when they're all ready. Just out here we've planted some wildflowers, and you can see here and here all around lots and lots of seeds coming through, which is brilliant. But just over here, this is also a wildflower bed, and with this bit of sunshine and the rain we've had over the last few days, of course everything's growing so well. Beautiful. Just over in the back there, more sweet peas. Just here, this is all lettuce leaves, and they're all coming up quite nicely. Bit of a bare patch here. Just over here, this one, it's all just coming out in flower. That is blueberries. We've got strawberries down here, which, as you can see, are coming out in flower. So let me just walk you up this way. We've got 2 gooseberry bushes, this one here, that one, and rhubarb through there. The strawberries are beginning to come through just there with flowers on. We've got a few more here, that one as well. Just in front of me, we've got some blackcurrant bushes, which are all through this row here, through this way. The first 3, we didn't save those. The others are all coming out in leaf. We've taken them from a plot further down where the first lot of wildflower seeds. These through here, these are all raspberries. Just here, this row going through here, these are thornless blackberries. Very kindly given to us by my best pal Steve Musco. And then through here, these are our runner beans, and they're doing so well. We only planted these, I think, on Sunday, and they're already in places beginning to go up the poles. Underneath this netting, and I don't know if you're going to be able to see very well through there, we've got cabbages and cauliflowers. I think it's 3 different sorts of cabbage. And likewise through this one. Again, I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see through there very well. But we've also planted another lot of cabbages underneath all this netting, all through here. So we'll see what happens with those. Just here, potatoes. Earthed these up today. These ones, these are Wilger. and I can't keep up with them. They're all bursting through, so I'm just going to take a chance and leave them now. So that's what's happening down here. And there goes my phone. Every time I do a video, my phone goes off. So anyway, that's it. That's as far as we've got so far. But very pleased indeed. But it's keeping on top of all the weeds that are coming through. Even on the footpaths, we've got all sorts of stuff coming through. So we need to get on top of that. But the weather's just been so awful. When we did the run of beans the other day, it was actually pouring with rain. And because they were growing so quickly, like the ones I showed you in the greenhouse just now, the greenhouse ones, there, they've probably grown since last weekend. They've probably grown another 1.5 inches, 2 inches, which is crazy. So we needed to get them out. So we've taken a chance. The temperature is a little bit cooler, but we just have to hope that it's going to be okay. Anyway, that's me. I'm going to go off and get some guttering for the shed now. So I'll catch you all soon. Bye-bye for now. Bye.
Bye, Kevin. Thank you very much for that video, Kevin. That's absolutely fantastic. If anybody else wants to send their videos to me, go to wetransfer.com. My email address is richard@theveggrowerpodcast.co.uk, and send it to me via that, just like Kevin has. Now, what I absolutely love about that video, Kevin, and you have only taken on your first allotment, which wasn't that one, back in October. You've not even had that. I can't remember when you got the plot that you showed there, but your original plot, which you still have as well, you've not even had that a year, and you're turning it around like that. And there's a lot of people who are also saying that, looking good there, Kevin. From Man on Visor, good looking, great plot, Kevin. Yep, absolutely. Andrew Norris, that's really impressive, Kevin. I didn't appreciate just how big your allotment is. Idaho Garden Girl, great looking allotment. And Nigel Sadler, hello. What a lovely productive plot Kevin has. And Amanda Joy, lovely to see your plot, Kevin. There we go. So a lot of love there for you, Kevin. Andrew Norris wants a greenhouse like that. And there we go. So yeah, lot of love coming in from that. So back to the comments quickly about going on. Richard Golden says next Sunday at 8 is going to be okay. Excuse me. Ballysitting is also Sunday at 8 sounds good. Amanda Joy, Sunday at 8 sounds good. Any time for Nui, anytime next week is good. Ian Meadows is saying Sunday at 6 I can watch. Sunday I be driving home. Well, yeah, but you'll be with us on Sunday anyway. So, anyway, Man on Visor, I'll be there at 8. Lovely show. So, and Turbo Stream, it keeps going black when you touch the thing. It's a mouse I'm touching. It's not this, is it? I don't know why it keeps going black. It's weird. So yeah, okay, we will do that. We'll go live next Sunday at 8 o'clock. I'm probably going to have a guest with me as well. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to have time to publish any pictures from Gardener's World, but we'll try and do something, try and talk a bit about Gardener's World. I did have a subject come in for next week, which I've forgotten about because of it's going to be Gardener's World. I can't remember what I was going to discuss now. I had an idea and it's gone out my head. What else have we got going on? So, Sean, hello. Eat the mare's tail. Shoots can be eaten raw and cooked. Quick fry with oil and garlic. The young shoots taste like Asian dried daylily with a crunchy, slightly sweet and savoury taste. Well, there we go. I didn't know you could actually eat it. But it's like couch grass. The roots of couch grass actually have medicinal uses and can be used in teas. So, That's interesting. But Sean does go on to say that long-term alcohol users, people who are vitamin B deficient, pregnant or nursing women should avoid using horsetail. There you go. It was. Oh yes, that's right. Amanda has just reminded me what I was going to discuss or try and find out from you guys about interplanting, because it was Amanda's ideas. She quite often does give me ideas. Interplanting, companion planting, or planting crops, tomato and basil together. That's what we want to talk about next week. Got any photos about that? Got anything you want to add? Get prepared for that next week. Interplanting. Oracle's asking, is the guest going to be Monty? No, it won't be Monty, because I don't think he would come onto something like this. But it's hopefully, I don't know for certain. It should be Lee from Skinny Jean Gardener, because we're going down to Gardener's World. So oh, this is interesting. So, just Googled and said all varieties of mare's tail are poisonous. I've never known mare's tail to be edible, so I don't know. Go look it up, or was it horsetail? One of the two. Go look it up and see what you can find out for yourself. If you are going to eat it, use your own caution. That's what I'm going to say on that. This is something I always don't want anybody to get ill on the back of this show. So yeah. So I'm going to go through my list of what we've gone through. So we've done the last of the book photos from last week, and you tick that off. We've done Kevin's video. We've gone through the photos this week. We've had the rhubarb cheesecake. I've actually finished that off while we were watching Kevin's videos. I finished that off. I don't know why I showed that onto the camera. I could have just gone like, where is it? I could have just gone, there you go, it's empty. I do like having the second camera up there. Right, if you want to zap yourself in, the link is going up in the comments right now, and come and join in and share the chat. Or you can call in on 07307 135 174. It also gives me an excuse to push my button and change the light colours. So please do call it in or zap yourself in, just like we have had Oracle and Stuart do earlier on. Luckily, we didn't get it then. What was that, Oracle? Oh, I don't know. I probably missed something in these comments, which happens sometimes with it going up so fast. Which is great. It's great to have a chat. Now, this week on the podcast, I've actually got a bit of a listener's inbox. I've had a question come in about feeds and fertilizers, which I'm going to go into a bit of detail on my understanding of feeds and fertilizers this week on the podcast. I've had the suggestion about carpets I mentioned earlier, and I've also received a question about using tires to grow plants in, using them as a planter. And I thought, well, that's 3 bits of things I can use on the podcast this week. That's coming out on Monday night sometime. I never have a time that I actually release a podcast, because I never know when I finish work I'm going to get him produced and edited and uploaded and written, and a lot of work goes into producing these podcasts. Now, Nui, and this I have heard of, use for mare's tail is like a scouring brush on pans. I have heard that, because it's very brittle, I believe. I've literally never came into contact with mare's tail, so I've not had any experience or tried filling it. But I have heard people say that they will use it to scour the bottom of pans to clear them out and get them all nice and clean. So that's something, if you do have mare's tail problem, that's something you could use it for. And that's something I often find the use of weeding, or when you can find a use of weeds, like I say with couch grass being medicinal, it suddenly goes from being weeding to harvesting, which then makes the job a little bit more easier to tackle, I believe. Oracle has said the mare's tail, luckily we didn't try to eat it, so people would have been missing. So people would have been missing from the show. But yeah, exactly. Don't want people missing from the show. If mare's tail is poisonous, and I don't know if it is or not, but I know it's a bit like, how do I put it? They say rhubarb leaves are poisonous because of the amount of chemicals in the leaves, but actually you've got to eat so many leaves for it to be poisonous. Or for it to do you that much harm, that it's still not good, but it's still a bit of a scaremongering going on there. And so I don't know if that's the same as mare's tail, but it's worth just investigating if before even trying to do that. Now, Sean has added some information. We had someone on our site who only grows maretail and Japanese knotweed and uses it in their London restaurant. I have heard Japanese knotweed is edible. I've never tried it, never eaten it myself, but it certainly is edible. Laura's came in talking about weeds. I recently made some honey from dandelions. I made that last year. It's delicious. Tasted lovely. Seaweeds in a whole new light now have many uses. Absolutely. Dandelions is something is classed as a weed, but I think it's so useful. One, I made honey from it last year. It's delicious. Really does taste like honey without the need of bees. But also it helps the bees who are searching for pollen and stuff at this time of year when there's not much about. I hate it. Our allotment site tells us we have to get rid of the dandelions, but I think I see them as being incredibly useful. Ballycillian is asking, is Japanese knotweed not illegal to grow? I'm not sure on the legalities. I know if you have it, you have to call the council to get rid of it, but I think it's an invasive species, and that makes it illegal. Could be wrong. But I do know it is edible. Mare's tail has to be removed at school because it is poisonous. RHS School Garden information sheet. Okay, so more people, more of this stuff is coming out. That's what's the restaurant, so we know to steer clear. Yeah. Yeah. Now, Turbo Stream, perhaps an edible topic would be edible weeds 1 week. Absolutely, yeah, something we can certainly discuss. And Manon Visor, dandelions are good for your soil too. Absolutely, you know those roots that go down into the soil, they create some fantastic earthways. They pull up all those nutrients from lower down in the soil. Dandelions are just such a fantastic weed. I hate classing that as a weed, but they are fantastic. And I'm sure Laura will say the dandelion honey. I did a video on making that last year. Go back and check it out. It tasted just like honey. It was a real nice syrupy, runny honey, and I've used it many times in place of honey, just because we could make it. And it was about this time last year, obviously we were all furloughed, we were sitting around, I need something to do, and that came onto my radar and I gave it a try. Loved it, absolutely loved it. So Japanese knotweed is classed as a controlled plant under the Countryside Act. There we go. Which means that whilst it's not illegal to have a plant on your property, it is against the law to allow it to spread. I did think it was something like that. I know it's a very weird setup they have with rules, but yeah, it's something to check out. Beatrice, never heard of dandelion honey. We'll have to check it out. Yes. If you search in my videos, you will find I made one last year. It is delicious. It really is. It just tasted like honey, but I could make it at home without the need of bees. And Laura has backed me up with that. Yes, just tastes just like normal honey. You wouldn't know it was made from dandelions if you weren't told. Yeah, it really did. I did find it a bit fainter in colour, but apart from that, it was fantastic. It was delicious. So yeah, please do go check out the video, make some, give it a try, and let me know how you get on and how you like it yourselves. Turbo String, Dandelion and Burdock Cordial. Yes, so Dandelion and Burdock always reminds me of my nan, because she always would have that in when I went in, and it's one of my favourite fizzy drinks. I've got to say, Dandelion and Burdock. I've got to try actually making some Dandelion and Burdock Cordial one day, actually. That's something on my list of things I need to do. Finding the time is half the battle at the moment, isn't it? Have a swig of that. Get rid of that comment. So yeah, please do go check out that dandelion honey. Please do go and let me know what you think. It's very, very delicious. Now, we started off this conversation tonight with chatting about dig or no dig, and the conversation we came up with, or the result, is everyone's going to do everything differently. It's whatever works for you. And I think this is where gardening is such a fascinating and real eye-opener, because everybody will do something differently. And this is one thing that I've always taken away and felt we need to be, or we are a bit more open to different ideas, because everybody does everything different. Now, I remember when I first took my allotment on over in Brighton many years ago now, and I was potting in some beans, and because I was potting them in a row instead of a wigwam, someone came along and said, "Oh, I've never grown beans like that." But he came out with it and ended up saying, "But your beans look a lot better than mine." Well, what does that tell you? That it because it works better, it may work better for you as well. Give it a try. And this is another thing I love about gardening, is a chance that we get to experiment and try things out. It's one things that we all do and we're able to do in this world is try things out and try and be different. If it doesn't work, it doesn't matter. On the comments quickly, Nui99, I want to grow borage for feed, but will it be the same in raised containers for nutrients? I'm going to say no, because it's a dynamic accumulator, the borage. So it needs to send its roots low down in order to mine, if you like, mine the nutrients to bring those up into the leaves in order to make the feed. The same as comfrey, the dynamic accumulators, I think they're called, or something like that. So I'm going to say no, but at the same time, there's going to be nutrients in your raised. If they're going in, or if the containers are bottomless and going straight into the soil below, it'll be fine. If it's a container full of compost, then no, it's probably not. And once it's mined all those nutrients, you're going to have to add them in order to make the borage feed itself. On that, Adrian's asking, what do you use a borage for? Well, borage is well, it's used quite often in making tea, particularly Earl Grey. It's used in Earl Grey, along with the other one, I forget what it's called, but it's got like a cucumbery flavour. It's quite useful, the flowers and the leaves, more like a herb. But the most common thing, or how do you use borage for feed? Is that what you're getting at, Adrian? So what you would do is you cut back, a bit like comfrey, cut back a load of leaves, pop them into a bucket with some water, and all those nutrients will leach into the water, and then you sieve off that liquid, and there you go, you've got a liquid plant feed, ready to go. So Nui 99 dandelion are now being used to make tyres again. Are they? Dandelions are being used to make tyres. Well, I never thought that would happen. So Stuart Jackson, great question. Lovage has grown well. Do I plant it out one plant per pot or multi-sow? Thanks. I would say plant it out in one plant per pot. So in May, I sent out Lovage as the herb within the seed gift pack for the supporting members. And Lovage, a bit like parsley, it can grow very, very big, very big. Lovage can actually grow up to 6 foot tall, so very, very big. So I would say, yeah, put it in one plant per pot, give it plenty of space and pot it on. It can grow quite quickly and it will come back next year. It's one of those herbs that is perennial, so make sure you give it plenty of space when you plant it out and be prepared for it to come back next year as well. Idaho, interesting RE dandelion honey. I will watch your video. Yeah, I can't remember the link to it at the moment. I'll have to add it in the comments, or I'll add it to the description when I finish up tonight and get everything written up. But yeah, the dandelion honey. I know we're going on a bit about this, but it was absolutely delicious. Well, we've got 7 minutes to go before we close off. I'm going to add the link if you want to zap yourself in for the last few minutes, or if you want to call it in, it's 07307 135 174. And there we go. It just went, I wonder if it's just went blank when I moved the mouse again, but it doesn't do it every time. Is it bergamot in Earl Grey? Yeah, bergamot, and they use borage as well. In a blend. I personally don't like Earl Grey. I mean, I'm not a tea drinker, but I'm not keen on Earl Grey anyway. I find it's a bit too I know I won't say what I think of it because it's probably a bit offensive to people, but people do love Earl Grey. I can't stand it, and I've tried making my own. I've tried buying it to grow. I still can't get on with it. How do they make tires from dandelion? That's what I was interested in that as well. I've never heard of that, but it wouldn't surprise me because they are making more and more things out of plant-based products these days. Nui 99, I'm worried about the arsenic in the soil being drawn up. Yes. Yeah, this arsenic is going to be a huge problem for you. I'm trying to figure a way, trying to think about this. I think, I mean, arsenic, trying to think, arsenic is it a heavy metal or is it a nutrient? I can't think. I'm guessing arsenic was found a lot around old mining, copper mines particularly, so I'm guessing it's probably in the area of an old copper mine. But yeah, I'm trying to figure a way. I mean, you can use the borage, don't get me wrong, but it will use up nutrients, and you might just have to keep replanting and using fresh compost all the time. That's the only other way around it for you, Nui. This is Nui said earlier about planting borage in a container in order to make feed fertilizer from it. The more I think about this problem, though, the more it becomes rather complicated to try and figure out a way out for you to not get arsenic all the time in your soil. I don't know what to do. Or what to suggest, I should say. But Sean has came up. The new RHS Bridgewater has arsenic in their garden, and they just dug it out and used the soil in the car park and then put fresh compost in at Nui 99. Well, that is an option, but I think in Nui's case, that's going to be one, a lot of work, and two, a lot of money in order to do it. I know the RHS is a charity, but I'm sure it has a lot of money in order to do these sort of things behind them. It's difficult one, this, Arsenic, to think about a way out for you. It's not a problem I've had either. Anyway, right, we've got 3 minutes to go, so we're going to start closing up for this evening. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining me. It's been great chatting to you, as always. A lot of conversation going on, no dig versus dig. A lot of people joining in. Lovely to see new faces come along. Please do keep commenting. Don't forget, send your photos in. Richard at theveggrowerpodcast.co.uk. If you want to send me a video, go to wetransfer.com and enter Richard at theveggrowerpodcast.co.uk. We'll be back again next Sunday at the later time of 8 p.m. I'll make sure to try and remind everybody about that. And on the podcast, as I said, listener feedback time. And I've got a video coming out this week where I've been setting up Grandad's greenhouse ready for this next year. We'll just have a quick look at the comments before we get out of here this week. So Nui99, the roots of this dandelion species contain the natural rubber latex, the source for natural rubber used in tiles, meaning supply will be steadier and easier to control, leading to greater price stability. There you go. Yeah, I mean, rubber is produced in certain trees, so that makes sense. Never knew that. I never knew that. Hopefully the weather improves this week. Fingers crossed. Yeah, I'm hoping for some better weather. I would like better weather this last week, though, because I had a week off work. I don't want to go back to work this week. Man on Visa, and thank you, Richard, and thank you, Amanda, for letting me know about the live chat. I've figured out who you are. Yes. Thank you. Nui, there you go. She has a copper mine under her house. That explains where the arsenic is coming from. Right. I'll close up and get rid of this. Thank you so much again for joining me this evening. It's been great chatting to you. We'll be back next Sunday, 8 p.m. Don't forget, due to going to an actual event. Going out, as I probably should call it. Certainly looking forward to it. You take care. I'll speak to you again next time.